On July 15th, early in the morning, the brig Epervier hoisted her sails, and towards 5 or 6 o'clock, or perhaps a little later, Emperor went aboard with his principal officers, and they sailed in the direction where the English vessel lay anchored. We had gone some distance when we saw a boat coming to meet us. It was a boat from the Bellerophon. The first lieutenant of that vessel was on board. The English officer came on deck and saluted the persons who were there. After a conversation which lasted less than a quarter of an hour, the emperor and his generals got into the English boat, which immediately went away from the brig with great rapidity. The sea was smooth. The sun, which was shining in all its brightness, allowed us to follow the boat, which was soon only a black spot on the horizon. Our brig continued slowly on its way. The wind was weak, and it was with difficulty that we got up to the English ship, near which we anchored. As soon as the captain of the Epervier had seen the English boat leave our ship, he went down into the cabin where I had remained to take care of the emperor's baggage, and threw himself into a chair. He seemed extremely moved. With his head on his hands and tears in his eyes, he heaved deep sighs. After some moments of gloomy silence, his grief burst forth. He said, with the accent of despair, why did I not the emperor come aboard my ship instead of the South? I would have taken him anywhere he wanted. We would have answered with our lives. Into what hands has he just put himself? If he had known the perfidy of the English, as I and my crew do, he would never have taken so deadly a resolution. Who can have given him such deadly advice? Oh, Napoleon, the officer went on, continuing to sob, you are lost forever. A frightful presentiment tells me so. And turning towards me, he said, how happy you are, how I envy you your place, your fate. But now all that I can say is useless. They have caused him to fall into the snare. His implacable enemies have him. I hope that he will be happy. It is all that my heart desires. Oh, Napoleon, Napoleon, what fate is in store for you? You counted on the generosity of the English. I pray God that your confidence may not be misplaced. As for me, I cannot believe it. I was weeping with him before and after the emperor's departure. I had heard the different conversations of the sailors. Most of them, who had been prisoners of the English, wholly agreed with their captain. None of them could understand how the emperor had had such an evil inspiration. The French brig, which was anchored near the Bellerophon, transshipped aboard her everything which she had belonging to the emperor, and the captain then went to salute his majesty and to say farewell. During the day, all the persons who composed the emperor's suite and household went on board the ship, and they put aboard all the baggage which was on the lugger. During the afternoon, the Superb, with Admiral Hotham, the commander of the station, came and anchored near us, and soon afterwards the admiral had been decided that the emperor should surrender to the English. On July 15th, early in the morning, the brig Epervier hoisted her sails, and towards 5 or 6 o'clock, or perhaps a little later, the emperor went aboard with his principal officers, and they sailed in the direction where the English vessel lay anchored. We had gone some distance when we saw a boat coming to meet us. It was a boat from the Bellerophon. The first lieutenant of that vessel was on board. The English officer came on deck and saluted the persons who were there. After a conversation which lasted less than an hour, the emperor and his generals got into the English boat, which immediately went away from the brig with great rapidity. The sea was smooth. I already read this. What's going on? Came on the deck of the Bellerophon. He was received by the emperor and dined with his majesty. The next morning, the emperor got into the boat. Oh, my goodness.